Is usually a time of prayer for churchgoers, but things could be different this year with warnings of a possible third wave emerging from the Easter weekend. Churches are waiting for government to announce if restrictions on gatherings will be tightened. The Reverend Kenneth Meshwe, president of the African Christian Democratic Party, speaks to us now. Reverend, as always, thank you very much for your time. As we said there, Easter is traditionally a time of heightened worship and interaction for many religious people in South Africa. What are your fears about intensified lockdowns in the weeks to come?
I'm really hoping that there will not be intensified lockdown the weeks ahead, so that those who want to go to church to celebrate Easter, which is a cornerstone of the Christian faith, will have opportunities to do so. As we know, lockdowns have negative effects on society as a whole. During lockdowns, there are people who are lonely, those who are sick have nobody to give them hope or to pray with them, and those who lose their loved ones do not have families to mourn with them and to comfort them, things that are very necessary for people to recover. So I'm really hoping that we will celebrate Easter with as many people as it is possible, and that obviously all those who will be celebrating Easter in churches will observe all the necessary health protocols to ensure that they are safe and everybody else around them is safe.
It's such a very difficult catch-22 because I completely hear you and those points that you've mentioned and the negative impacts during lockdowns. You're 100% right. But on the other hand, government has such a very difficult decision to make. Do you think they've been a little bit heavy-handed in the past with lockdowns regarding, the first and the second wave?
I think they definitely have been very heavy-handed. As you know, that there are countries that did not impose lockdowns whose economies did not suffer, like the South African economy. When people lose jobs, families suffer. When people lose jobs, they also lose assets. People who have had cars have lost them. People have failed to honor their loans and their financial obligations because of lockdowns. So I really am hoping and praying that South Africa will not have another hard lockdown. And if all South Africans do their share and observe the necessary protocols, then I do not wish and I do not expect that we will have more infections, because people do not want to go back to hard lockdowns as they know the pain of hard lockdown. And people in church also. You know, there are a number of churches that have not been meeting because people have been, unfortunately, thinking and even accusing churches of being places where infections are taking place. But nobody until today has come up with facts, scientific evidence to say this is proof that when people go to church, people get infected. That has not happened, and that is why many pastors are even saying, and I agree with them, that government should consider a minimum of 50% space that is available to be used by churches, because this was done and they were by people who are in movies. This was done, people who are in casinos, they were allowed 50% of floor space. And I think it would be fair that what has been done to them should also be done to the churches, because churches also must be regarded as essential service. Actually, we are essential service that casinos are not. Casinos are not essential service. Movies are not essential service, but churches are essential service. People that are depressed, they need somebody to talk to them. They need counseling. They need prayers. So the contribution that churches are making is massive in the land, and we are really hoping that government will consider and acknowledge the contribution that churches are making.
Reverend, many South Africans are COVID fatigued. They don't want to adhere to the regulations anymore. And as much as we can acknowledge that we're all facing the impact of the pandemic emotionally, physically, spiritually, we do have to acknowledge that we have to adhere to the regulations. So how are you going to go about policing congregants, as it were, to help them and to ensure that those who are attending religious gatherings are going to do so safely and in compliance with the COVID-19 protocols and regulations?
You know, the people and churches that we are interacting with, those we are talking to, those who are telling their experiences and we are sharing our experiences with them, they are observing the protocols to the T. Our church is an example. You can come to our church, visit anytime. There is everything that is supposed to be done. It is being done. People, temperatures are taken all the time. Registers are kept all the time. Sanitation is taking place. People are also maintaining their safe distances within the church situation. So those that I know of are not rebelling against the protocols, but they are observing them. And I have not heard anybody complain about churches that are not. I don't say they are not there, but personally I have not heard and I have not seen. Those that we interact with are definitely observing the protocols because they want to see us going back to normal. Now, what we do not want to hear and to see is that this is the new normal. Now, I don't like that term myself. Because when we say the new normal, we are saying we have accepted, we are all forever going to live like this, we are going to forever live like masks. Yesterday I met somebody who said, your baby is so beautiful, trying to encourage this lady with this beautiful baby. And she said, you know, it's so unfortunate that she does not like masks. She cries when people visit with masks, but what can I do? It's very, very sad that children are born and they see adults as these people with face masks, which is not natural. That is why we all must work hard to ensure that we do our best, we observe the protocol so that we can go back to normal, because this definitely is not normal and it should not be called the new normal. I know politicians say the new normal, but I disagree. This cannot be normal. The word normal means we should be as we have been, as God created us, not with masks, not being afraid to interact, even with our relatives. You know, I had a story.
Reverend, I do apologize. I hear you completely. The new normal, we should find a new word for that. We have to leave it where we are now. Thank you very much, though, for speaking to us. That was Reverend Kenneth Meshwe, President of the African Christian Democratic Party. I cut that interview short because we are going to cross to our reporter,